On this video, we're about to talk about how Katt Williams is a marketing genius.
We come from poverty, man, we ain't have a thing.
We come from poverty, man, we ain't have a thing.
So by now, y'all seen the interview. You seen the interview, I seen the interview. It was wild, but it was carefully crafted by a marketing genius. Let me tell you why. So for starters, from go, Katt Williams came in ready to get down, do it to get down. Yup. Listen, he didn't start with the where did you come from? How did you get the name? How did you go from Cat in the Hat to Katt Williams? None of that. He came with smoke. He said, everybody that done came on this platform and said my name gets smoke. Now let's go with the marketing part. He addressed Cedric the Entertainer, who's an amazingly funny comedian.
White people like space movies. Black people don't really do space like that. White people love space movies. They love movies about the moon and Mars where they can be leaving our ass down here on Earth. That's what they think. They think they're gonna leave us down here on Earth. They're gonna move to the moon. Ain't gonna happen. Y'all move to the moon, damn it, we coming to the moon. Oh, we'll be right behind y'all in space shuttles with Cadillac grills, nigga, just rolling, one headlight out, tags be all wrong, all bass.
But doesn't have the following that some of the other comedians have, right? My son don't know who Cedric the Entertainer is. My son know who Steve Harvey and Kevin Hart is. My son doesn't know who Ricky Smiley and Cedric the Entertainer is, even though he may have seen them in one-off movies here and there. They're not big enough stars to make the impact, but they start the conversation. Now, let me tell you how that may apply to you in your situation. So in your life, whatever you're trying to get going, right? You might got a tattoo shop that you want to promote. You might got a hat shop. You might got shoes that you want to resell. Sometimes it takes going after and creating controversy, right? So you got a tattoo shop. Take some of them horrible ass tattoos that you see coming to the shop and you be like, oh, who did that? And it's a person that you know, but you don't really want to ruffle no feathers and shake no and rock no water. Rock them waters. Take a picture of that tattoo and post that on Instagram and say, hey, who would all sign up to pay $250 for this tattoo? And get true world feedback. You could even tag the person that did it. Listen, there is a certain currency that comes with controversy. There's a certain currency that comes with telling your authentic, unadulterated truth. There's consequences, don't get me wrong. You might get yourself in some unintentional beef. You might start up and rile some unintentional feathers, but if you're doing it with the spirit of competition, think about what people do when they're competitive, right? And the best equation I can think of is when boxers have their training camp. That thing that comes on Showtime is the most amazing docuseries when you're leading up to the fight that you could think of, because it's camp versus camp. It's comparison versus comparison. It's trainer talking about trainer. That spirit is amazing because now at the apex of what's going on, they're reselling the fight. Every episode, every meter of training, every mile they run, they're reselling the fight. They're letting the fight marinate to people that may not have cared. There's so many fights where Floyd Mayweather fought people I never heard of. Right? Tank Davis done fought people I never heard of. I'm not into the boxing community like that, and I'm not heavily indulged in the Hispanic boxing community because, as you can see, I'm black. So when a black fighter is fighting a person from the Hispanic community, I'm able to learn, right? I'm able to see why this fighter is amazing. I'm able to look at their technique. I'm able to pick through and say, oh, they training hard, but I'm still able to say, I think Tank gonna take this one home. And so far, that's what he's done. So remember, controversy, right? And in my opinion, it should be healthy. Healthy controversy can help you and aid you in ascending to the levels that you're trying to go. Then Katt start talking about Ricky Smiley. And that part in and of itself is wild, but we don't really care, right? We don't really care about Ricky Smiley. We don't really care about Ricky Smiley. He's not on the, right? When we watched the movie, the Santa Claus was funny. They don't compare. They don't measure up, right? There's Craig, there's Day-Day, there's slapping the barbecue sauce off your mama. Yep. Come on, man. There's Money Mike, man. You know what I'm saying? And if you from, I come from an environment of Pusha P. So if you come from an environment I come from, that was your favorite part when he pulled in and told that. Where was your antennas when them niggas man, y'all remember? So he transitioned into addressing and clearing the air, and then from that point, it took a competitive turn. Let me explain. We went down a rabbit hole of competition. And I understand the messy part, right? The messy part is important because everybody like a little bit of tea. Like I told my son yesterday, black folks love tea. They don't love to drink it, but they love to consume it. It took a competitive turn though. So when we get into Kevin Hart, when we get into Steve Harvey, what we're seeing is a comedian inside of Katt Williams that has not given up his competitive edge, that still desires to be considered as the best in the business. Kevin Hart and Steve Harvey have monumental platforms. So if one of your competitors mention your name when you're at the top of the mountain, see what you gonna do is shrivel up. You gonna say, oh, the haters is on me. The pressure is on. But just imagine if the roles reverse. Just imagine how fast you're able to get up the mountain if you attach to somebody that's already halfway up there. If you attach your rope to a person that's already halfway up the mountain, how fast that will let you climb. Because now the world is forced to mention Katt Williams and Steve Harvey in the same sentence again. See, Steve Harvey is so far removed from being a stand-up comedian that this gives him stand-up comedian edge. People have to go back and refresh how good of a stand-up comedian was Steve Harvey.
My mother raised us in the church. That was her thing. My mom was a Christian, saved. She don't know nothing else except God. My mama in that. She ain't coming out. That's her. She made us go to church all the time. Y'all don't hear me. I said all the time. I ain't talking about no every Sunday. I'm talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Bible study, prayer meeting, young people meeting, old people meeting, deacon board meeting, usher board meeting number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, road committee meeting, building fund committee meeting. Mama, how much shit is you on? And you know, when you got to go all the time, you just make adjustments. You start liking it. And I liked church when I was growing up. So, you know, during the week, you have to make a lot of adjustments because the church service is real small. Ain't but 14, 15 people in there on Tuesday. So they have this little service. And you know that service that they have right in front of the regular service called devotion or testimonial? This is where you can stand up and talk about the goodness of God, or you can sing a song. That was my favorite part, when somebody just bust out in a song. Because, see, you were supposed to sing a song where the whole congregation could join in with you. No, not Sister Odell. No, she gonna do the one she wrote on the way in. Sister Odell was 85, couldn't have talk, wasn't pronouncing words good no more. You couldn't understand what the song was about till it was almost over. She didn't care. And you know, before you testify, you're supposed to stand with that real humble look on your face, supposed to cross your arms and look as humble as you can, you know. You know, then when it's your turn to speak, they give you the nod. You know. I couldn't wait till they gave Sister Odell the nod. My little ass just light up. Because I know she finna tear a song up. She just finna wreck a song. Because you ain't gonna understand it. They give Sister Odell the nod. Here she go. Pray the Lord. Good morning, God. Now pass it. Him. Whoa, him. Him.
He was amazing. Now, if you look at the silver lining, then you'll be able to find it. But if you look at it come from a hate or controversy standpoint, then you'll find that as well. But this is beneficial for both people because Katt Williams is then mentioned in the same context as a man that's on TV every day. I seen a Steve Harvey Judge show. Y'all see that show? He's on TV every day. Katt Williams is not on TV every day. The things that he's done, the truths that he's told, the things that he's exposed has prevented him from being able to forge the necessary relationships that get you TV and movie contracts. So therefore, he is a purist in the stand-up comedian sport, and this is the position that he's talking from. So when it comes to the thing that he does well, he has the credibility to be able to call on a peer and say that you ain't that good, fella. You ain't that good. And it creates a competitive spirit to where the person can then respond in kind and bring up Katt Williams' stock, right? When it comes to the industry, anything that comes from the Steve Harvey camp is going to increase the stock of Katt Williams. Just imagine how you can use something like that to propel your business. Oh, and now we're getting into the big dog. Woo-hoo! We all knew that there was a beef between Katt Williams and Kevin Hart, but we thought it fizzled out and died. That's what I thought, right? Kevin Hart got a new Netflix movie, not comedian special coming out. He has a new blockbuster budget movie coming out where it looks like he is a robber of some sort. When you're a competitor, it don't matter who's on the mountaintop. You got to eat. That was ingenious by Katt Williams to see the trajectory that Kevin Hart is on, to see all of this superstar stuff. And Kevin Hart just came out with a documentary with arguably one of the greatest comedians of all time who got the dust smacked off of him, but we ain't going to talk about that. There's a Kevin Hart, Chris Rock documentary out. Because if you in the stand-up comedy at all, you know that all of Katt Williams' latest specials have been on Netflix. You know that Kevin Hart pretty much run Netflix. So you know that they're in the same meeting rooms. They're at the same negotiation table. The numbers may not be the same, right? Right? There's not a lot of people that's going to get the freedom and ability that somebody like Dave Chappelle get when it comes to the ability to say what he say in his Netflix specials and then the numbers that he's able to receive. So on and so forth for everybody else. The numbers between Kevin Hart and Katt Williams may not be the same, but they're aware of what each other is doing. So this came from such a competitive place to say one person, right? Because when you're a purist and when they were beefing before, you had to, as the viewer, say, well, I think this person is funnier. This person is funnier. And you create this side thing in your head. Now, I personally like both of them, but I can look at the competition, the sport of it all, which is why to me, it's like boxing. It's mano a mano. Katt Williams is looking at Kevin Hart like, bro, you rose to this superstardom. But on the road to getting there, what people may not know is you gave up some stuff along the way. You did some roles that the real ones may not have done, right? You hopped into situations and you bent your wheel and you adjusted your integrity in a way where the real ones may not have adjusted. So then he's posing the question to the world, was it worth it? Is what you lost versus what you gained, was it worth it? And it forces you to think. It forces you to really think, not for them, because we are not them, but for yourself. When you're saying you want to go after your goals, when you're saying you got dreams of becoming more, when you're saying there's things that you want to achieve, what are you willing to do to make them become a reality? That's a hard reality. Most of us, in pursuit of our goals and dreams, we say we want it so bad, we want it so. Hey, y'all seen the interview, so you know. You don't want it bad enough to put that thing in your mouth. You don't want it that bad. As a black man, and M said there's a clear effort and initiative to emasculate the black man in a certain way, right? You can disagree, agree. That ain't for me. That ain't why we're here. But as a black man, you got to decide whether you're willing to put on that dress, right? Or put yourself in a position where your sexuality is in question, to ask, are you willing to do that to get what you want on the other side? So when you're shooting at giants, most people's criticism of any famous person, of any celebrity, isn't going to count. But what Katt Williams knows is he's put in the work and he has a documented past of being a very funny comedian. So when you are in that elite club, even if you're not as big as a person like Kevin Hart is forced to respond. He has no choice but to respond. His friends are calling him, his agents. There's people with real world ramifications. He's going to lose street credibility if he doesn't respond to Katt Williams. Now ask yourself, can you use some of these things to take you from obscurity and put you in position? Because I know, just like you know, there are things that I'm better at than some of the people whose names you might know. And using some of that competitive edge has helped many people in many different categories and genres come and emerge as the underdog in the fight. But guess what the underdog has that you don't have right now? The underdog is in the fight. Even if you're not expected to win, even if you feel like you like Steve Harvey more than Katt Williams or Kevin Hart more than Katt Williams, you're now forced to mention Katt Williams' name alongside your favorite comedian. And when you are forced to mention a person's name, right, alongside giants, that person gets bigger and bigger every time. And Katt Williams is smart enough as a man, as a comedian, and as a competitor to know all of this. So all of the things that he said had nothing to do with the amount of alcohol that he drunk. He is a competitor, and his competitive spirit was on full display in this interview. So my hope is that you guys can extract some of that marketing genius and use it to propel whatever it is that you have going on. And with that being said, that's this week's video. I hope you guys continue to have an amazing 2024. Before you go, I appreciate you getting to this part. If you got to this part, we family. I appreciate you. check that link down in the description if you know somebody that want to come up by their bootstraps, that want to start a business for them, that wants to stop trading their time for money in 2024. Hit that link down there in the description. And if you are at all interested in the video that we recorded earlier this week, hit that up there. With that being said, guys, we'll see you later.
We come from poverty, man, we ain't have a thing.
We come from poverty, man, we ain't have a thing.